All right, it's 12 o'clock. We can call the meeting to order. Do a roll call.
Felton?
Here.
Ford is asked to be excused. Cantor? Here. Green? Jones? Is asked to be excused. Prime?
Here.
Schurmeyer?
Here.
Sugg? Huey?
Here.
Quorum's present.
All right. Roll call. First item is approval of the agenda.
Do we have to excuse our missing members first? Okay. I make a motion to excuse Charlotte Jones, Dan Sugg, and who else am I missing?
Ford.
Oh, Brian Ford.
Okay.
Second.
All right. Made and supported. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Now to the approval of the agenda.
Well, I'll make that motion. If nobody else wants to.
Second.
All right. Made and support. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, motion carries. The approval of the 4/19 board minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve 4/19/24 minutes.
All right.
Second.
Made and supported. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Next item is public comment on agenda items. Yes. Oh, come on, Dan.
There's a mic over
Oh,
there.
you can go before it's Mike. I guess you can go ahead.
Rick West from Lathrup Boulevard. One of the items coming up, I think under new business, is the music festival and approval of 2 performers, or at least 1 performer. It looks like they want to spend $5,000 on a DJ, and then another $5,000, bring this person in from out of state because you're talking about hotel stay, flight, meals, etc. And then another $5,000 on somebody that's providing equipment for this DJ. So we're talking $10,000 on 2 hours for 1 performer. Previously, they've been approved for $2,500 for Thornetta Davis, a live performer who's a fantastic performer, and $2,200 for Mr. Omawale. I'm not familiar with him, but again, this is a live performer, and they're giving this person $2,000. It just seems to me that bringing in a DJ from out of state is questionable. I mean, I'm sure the metro area has DJs that would be more than willing to showcase their talents. I mean, we do the electronic music festival, and downtown is packed with fans. So we've got to have some people that know what they're doing. On top of the fact that we're looking at somebody who's spinning records. Now, granted, that takes talent. I agree to that, no problem. But when you're comparing that to a couple people that are live performers that have been performing all over the country, I know Thornetta is a blues singer nationwide and performs internationally. And I think there would be more than enough other people, other live performers with different styles of music that would be probably interested or available. So just wanted to make that concern known. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Public comment? Okay, thank you. Next item, consent agenda, which includes the monthly financial reports, committee reports, monthly code enforcement report.
Can I just make a comment?
Yes.
Being a new member, I'm still trying to understand the process and format. And I have a question regarding when public, looks like this gentleman, Rick, every meeting I've been in, he's made a comment. And I'm trying to understand why that is not sent to the board prior to your presenting it in order to give the board a chance to respond.
Can I respond?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
sure.
depending on the meeting, sometimes, residents can't respond to questions.
Sure.
Anyway, I just saw the agenda packet this morning.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know if it was posted before that, but this morning was the first time I had a chance to look at it. And, as I read through it, I went, okay, wait a minute, this is, something didn't seem
Mm-hmm.
quite right. So, anyway,
Because I think whatever we do, it has to have purpose.
I agree.
Okay.
And I would
And
have loved to
so
have,
I'm just puzzled because I know every time at board meeting, comments are made, but it seems as though it doesn't give the board a chance to digest the information and make a comment. So it's almost like it's not going anywhere. So a question I had of one of the members a couple weeks ago is, what is the purpose of that? Because it makes no sense to me. Is it just grandstanding, or is it really meant for the board to respond?
Right.
Yes.
if I remember, I'm trying to remember when I saw the agenda packet this morning. I don't know if it was posted before
Mm-hmm.
today, or if it was late yesterday. And if it wasn't until late yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
you
So
wouldn't
do
have had a
you
whole lot of-
expect the board to respond to your comment or not? Or are you just making a comment?
Well, I'd expect the board to take,
Yeah.
take that into consideration. I mean,
Okay.
The motion's gonna be made later,
Mm-hmm.
and, this might be something that you guys hadn't thought of, or didn't have
Yeah.
whatever. So,
Mhm.
I'm sure, the festival isn't until August.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure if you wanted to table the decision on that, I would imagine it wouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
I brought it to your
Mhm.
attention as soon as I possibly could.
Okay.
So that's,
And that's what I really want to know, because it seems like it's,
right, no, I mean, I don't grandstand. That's-
Okay, okay, thank you.
It's a legal requirement of the Open Meetings Act that we have public comment. And-
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's typically, at least in the boards that I've been a part of, and speak a bit different, it's typically not a back and forth, it's just a one-way to inform the board, and we do it before and after, so that way, if we're gonna act on something, some residents have a chance to at least give some input before we act.
Right. I guess I understand that part. I guess the other part is.
Why they don't do it ahead of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, there's
right.
there's
Because
a
that would be-
process, right? I mean, they can always email you.
Really, it just comes down to timing.
Yeah.
For example, like when you guys receive your packets, I think it's sent
I
out
know
on
it is, but
Tuesday
that's
this
my
week.
point.
Yeah, you guys received your packets on Tuesday this week. That's the same time they go publish live. Naturally, it's just the issue with everyone else in their life. If you don't look at it as soon as it goes published, then you don't know. So that's why, as Bruce was talking about, that's why we give these opportunities, because a lot of times it just comes down to timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're looking for a motion
So
to
the
approve the
consent,
consent agenda?
Consent agenda.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
All right. Say, made, support. Any question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Old business?
So for you guys' old business, you guys never formally approved your DDA budget at your last meeting. So
Correct.
So this is just looking to continue that conversation. Hopefully, have you guys have a little more discussion. And we approve something today.
I have a question about the budget.
Yes.
Okay. I'm looking at item 6A. And on the side, you give percentages of the budget of that line item.
I'm sorry, what
Oh, are you
what
in the
page are you on?
What page? Yeah. What page is that you looking?
12.
Okay,
Oh, you're on the monthly financial report. That's what you're looking at right now.
okay.
Okay.
So if you look at the percentage of the budget used, you go all the way down to the second grouping under expenditures, 744.82. Is that correct? As a percentage?
Yeah, for the auditing and accounting for that one.
Okay.
So for this year, as you guys know, we had to bring on Plant Moran as we replaced some staff. So working with Susie before she left, it was decided that part of that total bill would come from the DDA as Plant Moran was taking on DDA accounting responsibilities. So naturally, you look at your budget, you only had $800 budgeted for the year.
Okay.
And since they were filling in. So when we do the June meeting, that'll be part of your budget amendments to represent that.
Then the other question I had, and it's been a while since I have hired staff, but I've been looking at the percentage of, is that correct? 85.6% of the budget is going toward full-time staff? Is that correct? Am I reading that right?
So the way that percentage is, that's how much of the year has passed. So 85%
12.
pretty close to where we are in line right now, since we only have
Financial statement.
about 2 months left for the year. So you guys budgeted 100.
Of the budgeted amount.
85% of the allotted amount for
Yes.
the budget year. So you're looking at,
That's not,
that's 10 months of the budget year.
Am I looking at
Okay.
2 months to go.
okay.
85% of what we allotted for the salary, not the total
Okay.
budget.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
Yeah, we'd all be up in arms over that.
I know, I'm saying, wait a minute, I'm not reading this
Any of
right.
those, yeah.
Mike, your recommendation was to approve the new budget though, right? Or was it?
That's where I'm kind of leaning on you guys. Because naturally, I wasn't here at this last meeting. I could just go based off conversation I had with Susie before she left, and then based off the minutes of what I saw. So, from my understanding, you guys still had some concerns about taking on all the alley projects and things like that, and depleting the plan, having the plan be depleting your fund balance some more.
Yeah.
So it's just continuing that conversation if that's the route we want to go, or if we want to start cutting things out, or how we kind of want to proceed before, hopefully, you guys approve it and officially goes to council on Monday.
I would like, before we get into the alleyways, I would like to give an update on the plants budget, which is $7,000 is designated for this coming fiscal year, which is quite a bit higher than usual, but that's because, you may recall, we're taking on 2 special projects this year. One is we're in the process of purchasing 10 trees and 2 bushes to be planted in the district. Many of them will go in Lathrup, Lathrop Park, where a lot of the trees that were planted 25, 30 years ago have now died. I think we're going to put 2 in the City Hall parking lot, where again we have dead or dying trees, and then the 2 bushes will go behind the Lathrup Village Monument sign at Southfield and 12 Mile. So that will cost $1,500, which if you've done any tree shopping lately, you'll realize must be very small trees because you can't otherwise buy that many for $1,500. But they will be native species, which will have a much better chance of surviving and thriving in Lathrop Park and elsewhere. And that should happen sometime this summer. Those trees will come in. The other big project is redesigning and replanting the foundation beds along the City Hall exterior, which are in very bad shape. One of the beds has nothing but ivy and thistle in it at the moment. If you were here last month, you saw a design and a price quote from Paradise Gardens Landscaping, and that design just covered 3 of the 6 beds. Well, actually, there are 7 beds, but we aren't going to touch the ones out front on either side of the columns, the ones that the curving hedges, because they seem to be in fine shape. So their estimate for those 3 beds was just over $4,100 without labor. And that means we would be at least $600 over our $7,000 budget when you account for the fact that we spend about $2,000 a year on the flowers for the hanging baskets and the pots around City Hall. And we weren't wild about their design either. So what we need is a better design at a lower cost, and I think we can do it. I asked Reed Bosky, who's a native plant expert and a resident here, and he's also a member of our beautification committee, to, along with Nancy Burchard, she's a former landscape designer, and she's a member of the tree committee and involved with the Lathrup Village Nature Group. I asked them to come up with a design, which I saw on, I guess it was Wednesday of this week, and it's very good. Again, it puts an emphasis on native plants, which is good for the ecosystem and requires a lot less fussiness and upkeep than some other cultivars would. And it will have all-season interest, which is another one of our goals. So they're still getting quotes from a variety of sources, but it looks like we'll either hit the budget or maybe go over. They would like to do the planting themselves too, perhaps with other community volunteers, again, which will keep costs down a bit. And I think we can do it in stages so that we don't have to plant everything at once and can more easily keep track of how close we are to hitting the budget ceiling. And if we look like we're going over, we can either ask for a budget amendment or just wait until next year maybe to do one of the beds. So that's where we are on that.
So for that was your number?
So the number is 7,000, and
what-
hopefully we can stick to that, but
Yeah.
we'll try. Let's see. So, I mean, as for the next year's budget, where do we think we'll end up with our fund balance at the end of this coming fiscal year under the current, what is this, version 3 or whatever it is?
Well, we're looking at what we have budgeted currently is $1,007,000, correct?
That's what I'm seeing as well.
And we have fund balance $1,200,000.
I believe that's right. This year you'll
Right.
probably take close to a $300,000 hit at least, just to the alleyway projects we did this year.
Mhm.
So realistically, I'd say 8 or 9 is where you're gonna probably be at come June 30th. So it's just
Yeah. Well, that's a lot. Now that, does that still have the playscape,
and it might probably since it is budgeted for this year too. I think so. That's another $100,000 savings we'll have for this year.
what do you mean by eliminating that, or you're saying?
I'm talking about this current year, so you might still be at $1 million once we're done.
Okay.
Because I forgot that was pretty sure that's in this budget. This current year,
Yeah.
is it? Let me look real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, you mean when we
So-
net out revenues?
Yeah, when we net out at the end of this year. But yeah, for next year, if you keep doing the alleyways, but you take out the playscape, your end year fund balance come June 30th of 25, my guess would probably be 450 to 500,000 is what your fund balance will be.
Okay.
And we're pushing back the playscape, right?
That's up to you guys. It's currently in here right now. But if we take it out, that's $100,000 savings.
They need the playscape.
I think what we, now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what we heard last time the playscape came up was that even with our $100,000, because the city can't also contribute $100,000, we would end up being on the hook for a lot more than that.
Yeah, we were way short on funding.
Yeah.
That wasn't your last meeting, but 2 meetings ago, there was a significant gap there, and there was some very large assumptions that there would be other donations that would come in to fill that gap, and it didn't sound like the GM Foundation or any of those other things were gonna be able to qualify for, so.
So our part was the 100,000.
That was seed
The
money.
total, oh, yeah, right.
The
right.
total project cost with Playscape and parking lot was roughly $1 million.
Yeah.
So between your contribution, I know city council committed to 100 grand. The county was about 40%, so they're about 400. So we're still $400,000 short,
Yeah, and
and that's where
the-
we've been seeking grants and trying to get.
The original precipitous was that we were going to get a bulk of it paid by a federal grant that we didn't qualify for, that they did not award it to us. So then we started to backfill. We started cutting the cost of the play structure down to see if we could, build it in phases and do other things. And ultimately, I don't think the funding is going to be available to complete that, in my opinion. So at this
So
time,
if we can't, yeah, so we wouldn't budget, we wouldn't for the whole, the entire project. But for that 100,000, are we, is that in there for, to the extent that it does come in, like these other funds, then we'll have the money budgeted, but we're
That's
not
my
actually gonna
The
spend
way
it?
the way Susie did this, that's my understanding. Where if we break ground next year,
Right.
that the DDA's 100 grand is there and accounted for to spend.
But we wouldn't break ground unless we had, obviously.
Yeah,
unless we had
exactly. But if the project
minute.
was to move forward, that means your 100 grand's spoken for. It's in there, done. We wouldn't have to really come back to you guys.
Okay, so we're not, so I guess, you were saying that you thought we would be committed for the entire project amount?
I didn't say that. No, I
Who
just said
said
that I don't think it'd be fiscally responsible to start the project without having
Yeah,
it.
right, without having everything.
Yeah.
But, you were saying that. You were saying that we were, I'm sorry, I
Well,
thought when we started this, you were saying that we'd be on the hook for
well, I
the
mean,
million or whatever.
What I meant was nobody else is gonna step in, so if it's gonna happen, it's gonna be up to us, and that doesn't seem very likely to me.
Oh, okay, all right.
Is there a deadline for the funds?
I'd have to double check the county. I know I have to resubmit grant paperwork next week for it, just to keep it on the radar. But I want to say it's 2026. I'd have to double check.
All right, so then, we'll have we won't have the other funding for this next budget year, right? We will not.
As of right now, no.
Okay.
Naturally, we put requests into the federal government and our state
Yeah.
reps to earmark some funding for this type of project until we get some other source of revenue for it. Highly
Got it.
unlikely.
Well, I don't see
Got it.
much
So
point in keeping it in the budget then. 'cause
So
I
we
mean,
wouldn't
if-
budget, yeah, okay.
I mean,
Yeah,
if we
because
do
we're-
need it, we can.
Exactly. Worst case, we'd come back to you guys and ask for a
Yeah.
budget amendment of the $100,000
I
range.
get that,
Yeah.
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
And I guess the other question is, do you want to continue to spend $350,000 for alleyways and approaches this coming year?
Right, so one of the discussions we had, I don't know if we've gotten a resolution or the numbers on that, is what the cost, and I know that the engineer would be estimating, but the increased cost of waiting to do some of these projects as the alleyways further deteriorate and the cost to repair them increases. Do you give you any color on that?
Unfortunately, we don't have a firm percentage of what alleyway projects will cost if we delay them 2 or 3 years. But
Yeah.
yeah, just based off the past few years, you can have a good feeling they'll go up 5-10% easily.
Right. And I guess second to that, I know we had a conversation with Benzinski, and we haven't gotten anything
No,
back
unfortunately,
from
he's
them.
out of office this week.
Any numbers
But
from them yet, right?
no, from the quick phone call I had with him, he still feels pretty confident. If we did it, it would still be 4% for 15 years on a $500,000 bond. But yeah, nothing formal to us yet.
Okay. And the process for for us to issue debt would be the city, we would commit the DDA paying the debt, I guess more simply put, we would commit to the debt service, but it would be issued through the city.
Correct. Yeah, the city
the city would have
council would have to formally
have to
issue
approve
the
it.
bond, and then there would have to be a formal agreement between the DDA and city council saying the DDA will repay principal and interest of the bond.
Correct. So then the question is, when we look at our, but even if we take the 100,000 out, and we kept the budget at the same for everything else, and at the end of the next fiscal year, we'd be at around $500,000, right, instead of the 400,000. And if we're paying, what do you say, 4%, 15 years on 500,000,
Which would be 45,000 a year.
which is 45,000. So, roughly, right? So you take out. It gives us another 450,000.
Yeah,
I'd say it just kind of matters how you look at it. Yeah, it would give you that other 450 in the bank account, but at the same time, you're going to be paying 125, 150 grand interest for alleyways. Whereas
Yeah.
if you were just paying them 5-6 years of not taking on any other capital project, you're back to where you are. So it's just two different ways to look at it.
And I don't want to take us too far backward, but we originally started these alleyway projects 3 years ago now, I believe. And we had a phased approach, and I believe we pulled them forward to
We
this
did.
number so we could save the additional cost that we're going to go up. We got I don't want to say a special price, but a one-time price, because this completes the alley projects, right?
For this next, no.
The 350 doesn't complete it, no?
Nope. Talking with the engineer, him and Susie before she left went through the alleyways again. You guys would have 2 more years. It'd be this 300 number, then the following year I think it was 150 to 160, and that would get you guys.
That's different. That's different than what we discussed at least 2 meetings ago. So, yeah.
Well, I just couldn't support borrowing money for this, at least not at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just too many unknowns. 15 years is an awful long time, especially in the financial world. This could look like a great deal 2 years from now, or a terrible one.
Right.
And I don't really want to saddle those.
Borrowing rates are at highs right now.
Yeah.
That they're not at lows,
Yeah.
they're at highs.
Right.
Even
so,
at 4%, that was probably 1.5
Yeah.
2 years ago, so
And,
maybe 3 years ago.
And, future DDA boards' priorities may change too, and I just don't want to saddle them with $45,000 of debt every year. Like a month ago, none of us had ever heard of the Flock police network. And we decided that, it's worth spending money to make sure that our police have a better chance at, curbing crime in the district. So I think that things just change too much. And if we still have 500,000, or 4 to 5,000, 500,000 in our kitty, I think we can still, spend what we want to on.
Well, it's not like revenue's not going to stop.
No,
It's still going to come in. So,
about 500,000 a year.
Yeah.
So, I'm okay with the expenditure this year.
With
keeping
what's
the
budgeted.
350.
With what's budgeted.
With what's
Budgeted.
budgeted. I just don't want to finance it.
Mm-hmm. Any other discussion? We can.
How much were the flock cameras? I missed that part last meeting.
It's $12,000 annually, but I think
Yeah,
$15,000 just to
that's-
buy the cameras and
that's
You
install.
said not to exceed 15,000.
Okay.
The motion was.
And that's all DDA responsibility?
Yes,
Okay.
the cameras are only in the DDA district.
Okay.
So then the question is, a motion to approve the budget as
Yeah,
stated,
motion to approve the budget as amended, and removing the municipal park play structure.
removing the play structure.
I make the motion.
Motion been made,
I'll second.
support, all's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries.
I wasn't voting because she's voting.
We just didn't want to move.
Wait, look at me like that. You're being silent.
Budget, new business. Request, request to confirm Community Economic Development Director appointment.
So at your last meeting, you guys officially created the hiring committee for a new community economic development director. Thanks to Susie giving me enough heads up that she was leaving the position, we were able to actually get the posting out in advance before she left. So over the past couple weeks, I've worked with our hiring committee team to review applications, and we had interviews 2 weeks ago now. We received 7 good applications. We reviewed them. We offered interviews to 3 folks. 2 accepted. Both candidates we believe were well qualified. However, we think Austin Colson, who we are recommending, kind of set the bar. He's coming to us from Hamtramck, where he currently serves as Assistant Community and Economic Development Director and DDA Manager. Before then, he spent a decade with SMART. Came with a lot of energy, a lot of good ideas for the district. Came with some great examples of what he's been able to accomplish in his short period in Hamtramck so far. And he's just looking to move to this next step of his career where he thinks he can take Lathrup Village and our DDA district to the next level.
It's full of energy.
Yeah.
It was good. Yeah.
Good. All right.
Yeah, seems like a hard worker too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So, any other comment or discussion? And we'll take a motion to confirm the director appointment.
I'll make the
Mr.
motion. Oh,
Colson?
go ahead.
Second.
All right. Any support?
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, request to approve the Community and Economic Development Director computer purchase.
Yeah, so within your guys' budget, I know you guys had some money set aside for new computers. Now that we got a new director coming on board, naturally we want to replace the old computer Susie had. So purchasing computers for the city, we like to go through our IT provider as they can meet all the specs that we need for all the softwares we use. So including your packets, a quote from VC3, since it's over $1,000, bring it before you guys to hopefully approve.
We
Oh,
did
Susie
bought
had got a
one.
new-
We bought one for, Brittany got a new computer before she left.
I'll have to go check it.
Yeah, literally, we just bought it, FYI. So I don't know if we need 2 or, but
Yeah, that's the city, or I'm sorry, DDA computer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I have it's tucked away in my office. I know
Yeah.
exactly where it's
Okay.
at. I just
it,
haven't
it
looked
can't
at
be
it.
more than 3 months old.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
if anything, when we replace Brittany's position, that computer would go down. Yeah. But yeah, Susie's computer that she handed me is good.
We approved that
4 years.
purchase for Susie also already, so I don't know if we need to
Did we?
approve another one.
Right.
Not that I'm kin to it, but we had approved the purchase for both of them to get new computers.
I was unaware. All I know is
Yeah.
Susie's computer is very old.
Yeah, and I had asked her the last time I was here. I said, "When are you?" She's like, "Soon. I know Brittany got hers. I gotta get mine." So,
So that was back in the, I guess I'd go back through the minutes, but
February or
Yeah, I
maybe
didn't,
January. It was this year.
I didn't remember it
Yeah.
that way, but,
Yeah.
well, would it hurt if we approved another
Yeah. Well, if
one,
it's,
as long as we don't
yeah, if it's
buy?
nice and clean, the plan would only be one more computer, and I would just, especially since the fiscal year is about to come up, fiscal year. So if you
Yeah.
approve this, it would just be purchased through VC3 and call it a day.
Okay. I mean,
That makes
they
sense.
do each need a computer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would make that motion to approve the computer purchase for the new Community and Economic Development Director.
So, I second.
you may.
I don't want to leave you out, Dr.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. That,
Better not see a radio check.
the item C, request to approve Lathrup Village Music Festival, Terrence Parker Performance Agreement.
Now I'll actually turn this over to Music Festival committee members.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
I'm Adam Laurie. Lauren Barris.
Lauren Barris.
Both of us. For those I haven't met before, it's a pleasure to be here talking to you guys. For those I do know, hey everybody. It's really exciting to be putting the festival on again this year. Last year, those of you that were able to attend, we got a taste of what we were up to. Last year was pretty amazing, right? Basically went in a 2-month period from the thought of doing something to putting on the event, right? We had an idea, and then we quickly had a partnership with Susie. We had a lot of simpatico things going on and everything. It was a great team. Everything was step for step, and in a couple months, we really were able to put something together. But it was just nose to the grindstone, let's get it on, because we had the date on the schedule. So this year, the big difference is we have a lot more time and foresight to put this together. The way that I came into this, I have a lot of background in production. I'm a musician myself. I used to own a nightclub in Detroit. We programmed a concert series on campus, Marcius. I worked for a booking agency with world-class DJs. So I've worn a lot of hats in the music business. And so when it was time to put this on, I was approached to be involved and say, hey, can you help us kind of really get this thing on track? So with this year, now that we're really putting our heads into it, we really want to do something impressive, right? The whole idea with this festival is to put on a premier music event for the summer calendar for Metro Detroit. We're not trying to just do another little thing like all the other municipalities around with their summer events with some bands and some food trucks and some art and things like that. We really want to put on a premier music event, right, that draws from all over Metro Detroit. And, you know, the big goal with that is to really shine a spotlight on the village, right? When you think about what's going on in Lathrup Village these days that's going to draw the attention of the greater area, you know, there's not a whole lot there that makes us really current. And that's what we want to create, is something to create a really current event that makes people look at Lathrup Village and get interested, whether it's to look at the community for living, to be in the business community. You know, the DDA is the primary benefactor of the event, right? Our main focus is to really put this exposure out there, right? The businesses are going to be invited, as Lauren's going to talk about, to participate in this, right? We want you guys to have the opportunity to expose your businesses to a greater community, right? So when we talk about kind of the bigger vision of this, right, is, you know, we want to turn people's heads. When we create this lineup and we create this production, we want people to really take notice and go, wow, what are they doing in Lathrup putting on an event like this? So, you know, when we talk about, you know, who we're booking and what this lineup is, we're really looking at like an A-list of Metro Detroit performers. And it's about the quality of what we're putting on, and this is across the board, right? Last year, we said we started pretty small, right? We just wanted to just hit the basic marks. This year, we wanted to really expand that. So one big way, and one of the asks on here, is for the stage and lighting and sound expense, right? We want to really put on a professional caliber event here. And to do that, especially when you're working with the best musicians, you need to provide quality production, right? So Robert Jensens, who's on here, is the billing party, but Neil Seaver is the actual gentleman who's in charge of this production, and he is by far one of the most renowned and best sound designers and production guys in Metro Detroit. He does a lot of the major festivals. He designed the sound for Little Caesars and Ford Field, and I mean, the guy is kind of a legend. So when I talked to him, I really thought it was going to be like the high mark, and probably out of our reach. And when we first talked, we were thinking it would be around double of what the quote came in at. So my intention was to talk to him and find somebody who was kind of middle of the road, right, to give us some options. But when the price came in, it was literally about half of what I was expecting to see. And what we're getting with this is the staging itself, right? We're doing this in August now instead of September. It's a covered stage, right? Which is important because it gets really hot up on the stage in August, right? So, but with that staging is light rigging. It's full-on professional lighting, because we're going to be going on to 11 this year. We definitely need to plan for lighting. And the sound system, which is absolutely essential, right? When I walked the park with Neil, he just had all kinds of great, helpful information about how we would, you know, have the right system for the size of the park and just get the most optimal sound. Now, working with a guy like Neil and what he's going to bring, all the artists that are going to come in and know who he is, when they see his name on there, they know that this is a quality event. And so when we talk about that idea of a quality event, there's a couple different kind of approaches with that. One of them is, yes, with attendees, right? We want people to come in, just like those of you that were there last year, right? I think people were really wowed by how we kind of transformed the park for the day and brought this energy and this different feeling to create this event, right? So we certainly want to do that for the people that attend, right? For them to be like really impressed with what we're putting on. Equally important is to the artists that perform, right? Because not only do we want to give them, you know, last year the sound guy we had was good, but there were some issues on stage, right? We want the artists that perform to know that they're getting the best sound in town, that they know they can be confident when they go to perform, they're going to sound good. And, you know, along with that is what is the impression we're making with these artists, right? We really want to create something that's going to be a place in demand, a stage that everybody wants to be on, right? In future years, when guys are looking where we want to play, our festival is on the top of the list because of not only the lineups we're creating and the prestige, but also paying people respectable rates, right? One thing about being a musician in Detroit, I know this from personal experience and professional work, it's really hard to get paid, right? If you're a blues band playing around Chicago, what you get paid is an entirely different conversation than being a blues band playing around Detroit, right? It's hard to get a paycheck. So I want to be respectful to these artists and say, we know what you're worth, and we want to create an atmosphere where you get paid your value. And doing that creates, you know, mystique, for lack of a better word, right, within the artistic community. That's the reputation we want to build for future years as well. So bringing in some people like Thornetta Davis, right, Queen of the Blues, everybody knows, she's a known factor in Metro Detroit, right? But also a guy like Nadir Amawale, who is, you know, he's won multiple Detroit Music Awards. He's an amazing rock and funk player. And he doesn't play around town too much. He does a lot of production stuff, right? But having these guys, and you guys, you know, at the last meeting when we presented those rates, you guys were very generous and approved those at their full amount. And I think that's a really great thing to do, right? When an artist says, here's what my fee is, there's room for negotiation always, but to really just be respectful and say, yes, we value you and we will pay you what you're asking, that says a lot to them. Another element with it is having a Lathrup presence on the stage, right? Last year we did a great job, just about every act had some connection to Lathrup. This year maybe half of the acts are going to have the direct connection. Honestly, we've looked long and hard trying to find more talent within the community that wants to participate. We got some submissions, but not as many as we were hoping for. We were hoping to discover more stuff, and we don't want to just rehash everything from last year, right? But a DJ we've booked named Silly Girl Carmen, she's a Lathrup resident, Carmen Johnson. Her dad is Todd Johnson, right? She's grown up here. She is a house music DJ that is blowing up around the world right now, right? One thing about Detroit DJs is here, they're kind of our friends and we see them at our local clubs. When they get booked and go out professionally, they're commanding thousands of dollars and bringing thousands of people out as they go to Europe and Asia, right? And out to California and New York. So we have these people like Carmen who live in our community, right? And so having that Lathrup connection that is also such a demanding musician is great to have that as well. Also, to bring it down a little bit is my band will be playing the Ashland Bump. We tried to play last year and our singer was dying of COVID. So it was not the best moment. But what's that?
Did that die?
No, he's live and ready and he wants to play this year.
Okay.
So I play bass. My cousin Jason Hammond, who's also on City Council, is the drummer. So that's a good Lathrup connection as well. We have a couple other slots we're still looking to fill. But we've got some other Lathrup talent we're looking for that as well, and some different things that we're considering. So other couple notes before we talk about the asks today. Regarding the bar, right? We have Dog and Pony Show Brewery back as our beer sponsor again. They basically gave us the beer for free last year. Drink pricing, we're looking, Lauren's gonna talk, I think, more about this, I think. No? Okay. But basically, last year, we're gonna keep the prices low, right? We want that to be a feature of the event, that you're not paying, you know, $16 for a can of beer, like, say, at Arts Beats and Eats, when you feel like you've been violated after purchasing your drinks, right? We want to keep that a good feature of the event. We do want it to be more of a profit center, though, as well. Where last year we were happy to break even, we definitely want to drive revenues through the bar this year. And things will be priced appropriately, but not obnoxiously, right? So with the couple asks that we have today, you know, for this, to get the stage, you know, just the stage itself, if we price that out piecemeal, is close to a couple $1,000s with what we did last year, right? So to get that with the sound, with lighting, all of that at $5,700, with the production crew, this also includes, I believe, 3 people that are going to be on site to operate it all day, is an incredible value. You know, there is no, when I said I was going to look for a lower tier, there's no lower tier than this. We're getting an incredible value for what is what he's offering for $5,700. Regarding Terrence Parker, our headlining DJ, so TP is a Detroit DJ. You know, really what I was looking for the headliner, right? We have, for those of you who are not familiar with the Detroit dance music community, Detroit is the birthplace of techno. We have this incredible culture here, and we have many, many, many DJs that travel the world that are renowned megastars, that when they come home, they don't really play here much because A, they don't get the paychecks that they're accustomed to, and it's a tough draw. They don't, you know, the guy that goes and pulls 10,000 people in Tokyo, you know, he has a hard time pulling 500 people at home. It's just kind of this weird cultural thing about it. But so we really wanted to put on a guy who was an A-list from around the globe, right? That was, people would see his name at the top of the bill and be like, wow, right? So originally we were thinking a guy like Moody Man, Jeff Mills. These are guys that are playing, headlining the biggest music festivals around the world, right? Those guys weren't available. So a guy like Terrence Parker, he is another guy who, he doesn't play Detroit very much right now. He used to play a lot more. But again, when I approached him and I said, hey, we'd like to have you headlining this event, you know, I asked, what is your rate? You know, and that's what he came back with, was $5,000. Now this is typical for a guy like this. When he's out touring the world, this is the kind of money these guys make, right? So I want to be able to appeal to that level of an artist, right? If we're able to pay a guy like Terrence Parker what he commands around the world, other big DJs in future years will want to be a part of this. And that's kind of the clout that we're looking to create. So, you know, with Terrence, there's no flights or hotels or any of that, right? That's because he is local. He'll be coming back from Denver the night before, right? But his flights and everything are already taken care of related to that other booking. So we don't have any curricular expenses like that. So I think it's, yes, it is a large fee, certainly, but it's really cool. Kind of, you know, one of the things to understand with what's a little bit different from last year, we had, I'm going to wrap it up soon here and turn it over to Lauren. Last year we had a lot of kind of more low-key stuff, right? We had Josh White Jr., who's incredible, but it was folk and a one guy with a guitar on stage and kind of chill. This year we're looking to keep the energy up all day long, right? So we're going from indie rock to, you know, Thornetta with, and Thornetta's playing in the afternoon. She's going to play at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so like an afternoon headliner. We're not looking to go slow and build it up. We want to bring it all day long, right? So Thornetta's playing early, doing blues. After her, into house music with Silly Girl Carmen, right? Then Cast Iron Cornbread, who would play last year, rock, funk, big energy, right? So we're kind of going from genre to genre, but it's keeping it up, right? Then Nadir's coming on. There's another act in the middle somewhere. And then after Nadir, who's a full-on rock show, right? Then topping it off with Terrence Parker. And if you haven't heard Terrence Parker before, he's amazing, right? He plays house music, but he also plays a lot of old school, what we call electro, so some more of that 80s, 90s dance music. He's a very unique guy, you know. Uses an old school telephone receiver as his headphone set. And the guy, I've heard him for decades, and he just brings it so good. You know, it's always, he reads the room. So whatever he's going to do for his 2-hour headlining set is going to be special and worth every penny. The reason that guys like this get paid like that around the world is because they are exceptional artists, right? They're not just picking up records and playing, you know, whatever the latest top 40 hit is. These guys are, you know, they know how to move a crowd. So that's the big view, the big vision. Thank you guys very much for supporting this event. You know, as we change over in this administration, it's great to know that you guys are still behind it and want to support this and be a part of it. The last thing I will mention is, you know, our intention is, when it comes to these expenses, to fundraise so the entire budget is covered, right? You guys have anteed up what the DDA contribution will be, right? And, you know, our intention, and Lauren's going to talk more about it, but that's where these costs will be covered from promotions and fundraising.
Thanks, Adam. So so he's still doing all of that. I'm Lauren Bears, by the way. I don't know everybody. Are you Danielle? It's nice to meet you in person. I'm helping with the volunteers, with the food trucks, the vendors, and the sponsors. Right now, I just want to let you know some background with this. We have about 30 volunteers right now, all local, all willing to help in all avenues of putting the festival together. We have 18 vendors right now that are local businesses and resident businesses. Some will show wares and some will just promote their business. We have room for about 25. So those are going to fill up quickly. And we're asking $25 for a vendor fee this year, which we did not ask for last year. So everyone's being charged $25 unless you're a city office. Like if the DDA would like to have a booth, I would like to have, this is your festival. And so I'd love to have a booth that's decked out for the DDA, whatever it is, whatever giveaways we can come up with, something, you know, that says DDA, and we can have volunteers man it. That wouldn't be a problem. Or if you're a city committee, like the Lathrup Village Tree Committee has a booth, we're not charging them. His wife has a booth with her crafts, we're charging her. So you understand the difference between that. We also want to ask the board members if you have, if you would like to highlight your business, as Danielle is, we would love to talk to you so that we can make sure that you have space and have priority in that area. As far as food trucks go, we're going for 4 total food trucks. We have 3 confirmed. We have Mediterranean, which is going to be at Food Truck Friday tonight, so if you want to try it out. We're going to have the barbecue that was here last year, that was a big favorite, and we have a hot dog vendor that is hot dog, hamburgers, fries kind of thing. And I'm still looking for my Mexican. It's fallen through, a couple of them. And we're in talks with a donut truck. So we'll have a fun donut truck too. That'll be our only sweet truck, though we do have sweet vendors. We have a local person who makes desserts, another local person who makes candies. And all of the artwork for everything has been updated, from banners to street signs to posters to the flyers to the t-shirts. Everything's been updated and it's ready to go to print. We have a great printer who offers us 40% off of all printing costs, which keeps that low too. And we have the same t-shirt vendor that we used last year. We're just waiting on confirmation of the lineup, so before we can have anything printed. And then it comes to the sponsors. We want to thank you so much for allocating money for the festival and helping us like that. And we're coming to you with $2,000 of our seed money from one of our friends who started the festival idea last year through his church, and came to me with a challenge and said, I'll give you $1,000 if you can bring the community together. I was like, that's great, but that's not enough money to bring this whole community together. What do I do? And I went to the DDA and said, we'd like to use your money, and we'd like to use your facility, and we'd like your help. And we appreciate so much that you guys got on board with that. So we're bringing $2,000. Giffords Webster has already given $1,000. So we have that 3. And we're in talks right now with Fortson. I'd really like to have that contact with Michigan First. I have the
Was it really me?
I did look this way.
Well, you're a banker.
I did. I want to show you how intentional I am because I did go and get the form. So we like to talk to you, and we're in talks with Jagged Fork, Blue Cross Blue Shield. I don't know if that's going to be a lucky one, but maybe. I've sent a request to Quality Roots, just Soaring Eagle that fell through. Next year we might get Soaring Eagle. And we're in talks with someone at State Farm right now. But we need more money. And to do that, we need more sponsors. So I'm asking all of the board members too, if you can help us in that way, contact Mike. Is handling all of the sponsorships, and any checks should be written to the City of Lathrup Village with LVMF sponsorship in the memo line. And I am happy to take your email addresses and send you the sponsor letter and that too. And also I'm asking the board, with all of your backing, if you could also share this information on your personal and business pages from the Lathrup Village Music Festival Facebook page. All of that stuff's out there. And we appreciate your support. We hope that you all get there. It was magical last year, and we just expect it's going to be even better this year.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
So I think that the Lathrup Music Festival is absolutely wonderful. I had a wonderful time last year, and I'm good for $1,000 to it for this year. And I told you I would get another sponsor, and I think they're good for $500, and I'll try to do one more. I'll work with you also.
Great, thank
So
you.
that's number one. As I talked to Adam yesterday, because I was in pure shock when I looked at Mike's board yesterday when I saw the price for Terrence Parker, and I know who he is. I guess I would be considered a house head from 1987, 86 area. So when I saw that, I called Adam immediately and said that I feel comfortable with $5,000 for one artist.
Do not?
Do not feel comfortable with that. Only I looked at everyone else and what they were getting. And then because I did a music festival back in 2015, 2016 here, our whole budget was $5,000, and I brought out decent DJs at that time who traveled, like Bruce Bailey, who does travel to Tokyo and things like that. But because we're friends and have those relationships, they give me those discounts. And so then we got an email this morning from a resident that was also against the $5,000. And so just to bring you all up to speed, I did talk to Adam last night, and I just happened, which I don't know if I should be having on record or not, but I just happened to be at a house music place last night when I was texting. And so one of the DJs who I really feel as though is a premier DJ, not just because of her being a DJ, is her philanthropic background and community background, and that is Stacey Hot Wax Hill. Stacey's been on the radio. She is considered the godmother of house music, and if you go down Woodward, there's a mural dedicated just to her on Woodward. Additionally, she has started a class for young girls to learn how to DJ, which I'll say I donated to because I thought it was a really good idea. So she happened to be there last night, and I asked her, would she do it? And I know that we talked about it, and she agreed to do it for $1,000. And so I just think that, and I know that you said last night it was a difference between techno and house music, but it's also for her who's willing to do this, and she's also headlining at Movement along with Terrence, so they're together on this. And then there's some other people that I also called just in case for them to be
together on what?
Movement is going to be
on the same movement.
They're going to be with Pacquiao. They are main stage. At least I don't know about Terrence, but I know Stacey's main stage at Movement. So my whole point of this is that I think, and I'm not a promoter, I'm just somebody that knows a lot of people. I think $5,000 for one DJ and I, and again, I know Terrence from a person, not a DJ, it's just a bit much. And I think that especially with us tightening our belts and having to really pay attention to what we're spending, and then comparing it to the rest of the people, which I think Thornetta Davis is a headliner within herself, and for her to be almost half of what Terrence is asking, I as I said last night, and I'm not saying anything to say last night, is that I can't in good conscience vote for $5,000 for one person. That's all.
I saw Thor,
I agree.
2 summers ago at the Plymouth Music Festival, and there had to have been 12,000 people there. It was crazy.
They love her.
Yeah, really good.
And if I may, our intention was at this point to have all the fundraising in place, right? So if we're coming here and we're showing you that, and I understand this, right? If we're showing up and saying, yeah, well, this DJ is 5,000, but the money's already in hand to cover it, I think that's a different conversation. I understand that, and the reason was, Susie had wanted to spearhead the fundraising, right? And she said, I got that, and didn't really make a whole lot of progress. So where at this point we had expected to have all of that already in the rearview mirror, it's still coming together. But does, I understand, make it a bigger ask to you guys, right? Because it's not like I can just lay it out and say it's paid for, it's fine. That would probably be not a big deal. I can understand how you feel a little more, concerned about it then. I'm open to Stacy for sure. I think she would be great. I think the big difference is, I checked out Stacy's calendar this morning. She plays around Detroit a lot, right? So if you want to see Stacy, there's a lot of opportunities to do so. TP is not booked, other than movement, he's not booked in Detroit at all. And he's really working at a different level these days. He's working at an international stage. So the big difference in my mind, a couple of things. I think that Terrence, when you don't play as much, you tend to bring more people out when you do. I also do want DJs in the community to look at this event as something desirable financially, right? So I think certainly paying $1,000 to our headliner is respectable, and I know she's giving you a good rate. She's giving you the friends and family.
Technically, I'm paying for it. Get it?
Yes. I get it. I get that, right? That said, maybe in, next year and future years, when we do have the fundraising in place more in advance, and we already plan for that, we can cover those expenses, then maybe we shoot for that. Because I would like to be able to say, we paid $5,000 for a headliner, right? Because that carries that clout within the music community. So I'm flexible by all means. I think you made the perfect recommendation last night because, it's important to me, and I don't think that it would just settle for just anybody. And clearly, Stacy is not just anybody.
And then she's also in the AARP magazine, March 2024, as being because of her age. I mean, she's impressive to me, not just for
Is that the demographic we're going after?
Right.
Well,
and my point is
that
that
fits
Wait a
right
minute,
to-
I'm that demographic.
Yes.
Read the room, Bruce.
I know, right? You never can. It's just where I think that is, it is a different. I mean, it goes to what are you seeking? The
crowd.
The crowd. What are you seeking? And right now, since we are building up, Stacey is going to bring in people that go to certain clubs. When we did the, I forgot the name of it, back in 2016, it was crowded here.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, she is going to bring crowd.
she's
And
a
that's,
draw
I
for
mean,
sure.
that's where I would put my name on it.
I mean, Stacy playing for free on a Saturday night outside, I mean, I'd go. So, I feel that.
So what is the demographic that the festival is trying to pull?
I think it's really,
The whole effort was to bring the community together, and our community is really diverse. So we want a diverse appeal as well, with all of our vendors, with our food trucks, with our artists, everything.
So do you have any younger artists on the lineup?
Silly Girl Carmen,
Okay.
she's young.
Cornbread and
Cast Iron Cornbread.
is younger.
They're a younger rock band.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it is more, you know, I'm keeping my ears open as far as like younger or current acts, obviously, as all of us are more familiar with things in our own circle, right? But, yeah.
Well, let's talk bottom line. So what are your total expenses that you expect this year?
Oh, overall,
Yeah,
Somewhere in the neighborhood, if we're not gonna be going with Terrence, probably 20,000, with a $5,000 headliner, 25.
okay. And we only have about 3,000, 4,000 sponsorships right now?
well, with the DDAs, committed as well, so
Yeah.
we're,
Well, that's, I mean, we had a $10,000 budget commitment, right?
right,
Okay. And we've now the artists that we've already approved last month, or was it? So that goes toward that 10,000, I presume? And so with these, okay, so we would be,
so we have another $4,000.
yeah,
And we're
Okay.
still looking at sponsors.
okay, so, I mean, you think that's realistic? I mean, because
Oh, yeah.
you are raising the
Yeah.
prices on beer a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And- Okay,
And what we're really, the one big missing key so far is the title sponsor, right? That's, once we get our title sponsor, that's a $7,500 commitment. That puts us over our $10,000 or $20,000 budget, and we're good to go,
okay,
right?
So-
So that's the thing that we were really hoping that Susie was gonna have in hand for us before she left. And that's what kind of put us, I'd say, behind a month, right?
Yeah.
To not be able to sit here today and say, hey, it's all here, and here's what we got to work with, so.
okay.
But that's definitely our main focus, right? Is getting that title sponsor in place. And once that's secured,
I feel like we're gonna have a lot more small sponsors than we are going to have a title sponsor.
Yeah.
yeah, that's where you're feeling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just by the calls that I've been making, and this is new to me, you know?
Mhm.
I'm stepping into the DDA director's role doing that, and with no, you know, just a letter to back me up, and so that's why I'm asking for the help. I really appreciate your attention to that. But I'm still putting myself out there because I really believe in the festival. And I really want to talk to local businesses first, and then people I know, you know. I know the Director of Communication at Blue Cross. She's sending me to somebody at HAP too. Maybe HAP will be more receptive than Blue Cross was. You know, I know the guy who has the ear of the CEO at Soaring Eagle, but we didn't follow up on it. And that fell out, and then it was too late. So, but we put these in our back pocket for next year, because we can get started a little bit early next year, and hopefully we don't have the same hiccups.
So how, so how many people do you intend on coming this year? How many people do you think do you anticipate?
I think we'll have close to 1,000 people. We
Okay.
had just over 500 last year with 2 months of planning and only like a month of promotion.
And I would say significantly more than that.
So
You
You
it's
think
with-
more than 1,000?
okay.
Yeah, I think when you look at who the lineup is, you know, I think with Thornetta Davis at 2 in the afternoon, she's gonna be a big draw, Nadir's gonna be a big draw. Our headliner DJ is gonna be a big draw. Carmen, I mean, everybody that we're putting on there. So if each of these individual artists is drawing in their crowd, I would say I was expecting somewhere between probably 1,500 to 2,000 people is what I was expecting.
So this is
So-
why we wanted to talk to Michigan First also about possibly using the lot for overflow parking. And we have 2 people who are willing to do background checks to get approved through the city to be shuttle drivers.
Okay.
He's not Michigan First, Lauren.
You're not?
No.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
He's wearing a Michigan First shirt.
I thought you were Oxford.
No,
I'm really
that's
confused.
Brian. Brian.
Yeah,
Brian.
right.
I'm like, he's
Hello,
wearing a shirt.
never
that's not
mind.
me. I'm not- yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
So as
just
far
has a
as the vendor tables, is there a first right to the city businesses? To the tables?
No, it's a first come, first served situation. So I have like 10 spots open.
Okay. Well, I think since it's a DDA event, I think that it should be first right to the city businesses first.
Yeah, well, they've already committed, these others that were already here last year.
Okay.
So I went with Susie's list, you know, of the businesses that were last year. And then, I'm not sure who she contacted or who I would contact as far as what would be appropriate for, you know, that particular business to showcase, or not. But I can provide a list of who we have. I don't have that with me right now, but I can provide a list to tell you. And I am more than willing to go around to businesses and ask them if they're interested in having one. If you have suggestions as to who might be those best fits.
Yes, that's what Susie and I spoke about before she left, because a lot of businesses, they don't know the goings on of the community. That's why I joined, and that's why she joined as well, because we don't know. So we need to be more vocal with the actual businesses. But I'm pretty sure they don't. I didn't even know, and I'm on the board.
How, besides going door to door to every business, how
We
would
have
I-
to figure that part out. But I
Yeah.
feel like they deserve first.
Yeah,
Well, we
I agree
deserve
with you.
first right
we'll
to
figure,
those
I was gonna
things.
say we
figure it
have
out
a-
then.
We've got a mailing. We
Oh, we
can
do?
talk, try to
Okay.
coordinate
Well,
with
we'll
that.
figure it out then,
Okay.
because if more businesses want to, we'll set up tents in another spot too.
Okay.
You know, right now we're setting up in the, what I call a grassy knoll. And that's where we're setting up tents
By the trees.
across from where the
Right.
food trucks will be.
Yeah.
But if lots of businesses want them, we don't want to turn anyone away.
Yeah, and I mean, I absolutely agree. I think that something that is on the forefront of my mind is this is a DDA event, and however it can best benefit the DDA and the business community, absolutely, it should be showcased. You know, so if that means, like, I'm of the mindset, and I don't know if this is realistic, right, but if every business in Lathrup wanted to set up in one form or another, they should be here, right? We want the businesses to have the exposure when people come in, right, and here handing out literature, doing whatever they feel is the best way to promote their business, and leveraging this event, right?
And they may not all need to have a tent. Some people might want something smaller than that, or some people may have a demonstration. I'm talking to a lady who has a salon here called Best Solution Salon or something like that, and she does wigs for cancer patients. And so she's gonna be bringing her wigs and stuff like that. So I have talked to businesses and businesses that were coming back. I'd love that email list.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that, you know, whatever ideas you guys have, please put forward. You know, this was something that last year simply Susie spearheaded it, right? We didn't have the direct interaction with you guys, right? We just kind of had our areas we focused on, and Susie just kind of handled the other stuff, right? But we absolutely want to partner with you guys, since here we are directly liaising with you this year. You know, whatever ideas you might have that's going to be the best ways that we can leverage the event to service the business community, let's do it, right? So I would love to get a letter out to every business in Lathrup and invite them.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a periodic email newsletter that goes to businesses, but I don't know the ins and outs of that, but
Yeah, I'll have to try to track something
Yeah.
out.
Mike, I can help you with that.
Have you reached out to Cerno for a
I
donation?
don't have a contact for Cerno.
I do.
We can give you
Okay.
one.
That would be a good one. I think that Susie confirmed parking with them.
Yeah, I ran into Officer Zhang at the Tigers game the other night, and he had said that the parking over at the school was confirmed,
Yeah.
so.
so other than the DJ, do you have other artists yet to sign?
We've got a couple open slots still that we're gonna book.
Okay.
They are likely not gonna be like major price tags, right? I think all the big feed artists are accounted for at this point. We're gonna have, you know, our opener is gonna be somebody local, who's gonna be a Lathrop resident, one form or another. We've got one slot kind of in the early evening.
Okay, well, my next question is that, do you expect to be coming back here and asking us to fund their fees as well at a future date?
I mean, hopefully not. I mean, I know that we've had discretionary not needing approval for expenses under $1,000, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm
Okay.
hoping it would fall into that category. You know, I think if we were gonna come back to the table and ask you guys for another larger approval, it wouldn't be until we know we had more sponsorship money secured to cover those costs.
Okay.
And it would be more of us saying, hey, we've got the money, can you guys approve us, you know,
Okay.
writing the checks?
Do you guys engage with our promotions committee? Like I'm thinking of, just so we can be in more get regular contact.
There
with
was,
them,
was
just
a
in the-
completely separate Lathrup Village Music Festival
Committee.
committee last year.
Okay.
They reported to the promotions committee. We got just a weekly report from them, or monthly report from them.
Okay.
So there was a group on that. I know, Adam, you were on the calls.
We were at
Yeah.
that committee with Susie and
Yeah.
Brittany and Jason.
Yeah, Mark Rentina was on it, and a few others that were planning the event. So it wasn't part of promotions; it was separate.
But they would
Yeah.
they would then
Yeah,
come to
almost
you.
like the Juneteenth committee and
Yeah.
a few others that did.
So
it
do we
also.
have that? Is that still in play? I mean, it should be. If it isn't,
Promotion?
The
No,
committee
take a look.
meeting?
if we
Yeah,
had, they had a
it's a DDA subcommittee.
subcommittee that
It
would
was just
report
formed
to the
for that
promotion
event,
committee.
yeah.
It was just for this to be more regular contact
working
with what they're
group,
doing.
if you will, yeah.
Working. Okay.
We don't know anything about
We'll chat.
that. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be
If
helpful.
that's a productive way.
Yeah,
I imagine their job is to promote activities and businesses in Lathrup. So if that's a natural tie-in, sure.
Right, and then, so just in between meetings, we could be more, certainly through the promotions committee, we could be more engaged with you guys.
I think last year that was one of those things that was more Susie was,
She was kind of
Administering
doing
that?
that.
Yeah.
you know, we didn't really see that.
I think you're
We
looking
didn't see
at the
that.
promotions committee based on the recent departures. So
This is a
we need
promotions
more
committee.
people. It's not well attended before we start signing the tasks. But
I see.
But I just want to, so, again, and I think I have all the information, but, so, it sounds like the DJ may be too rich for our blood today. It sounds like we might have a healthy alternative to replace that slot. We still need the stage, though. The stage doesn't change.
Absolutely.
Is the equipment downgraded because Telephone Man isn't calling the shots anymore? That's his name. That's his name, is it not? No.
This is telephone.
You're not the
I
first
read
one to call him-
Wikipedia.
You're not the first one to call him telephone. No, I mean, that stage and sound package and lighting is what it is.
Okay, so
There's not
he wasn't
been-
calling the shots on that.
Oh, no.
Okay.
That was me speaking with different.
So my question is, do we need an additional approval for that stage? Is that over our expense amount now, or are we gonna wait till you bring more talent in to say we need more money, or funding, or what are we approving today then?
Well, I'd be inclined to go ahead and approve the stage, the Robert Jensen to
$5,700
provide the
for
light stage.
yeah.
Yeah,
sound
I mean, the
services.
short term
Yeah.
is just the 50%
Yeah.
deposit, with the balance paid prior to the event.
And I would imagine we need to approve Stacy then too, because she is at $1,000, not $999.99, and she's going to need a contract.
Sure.
So we need that too.
So how would you just add that as a separate resolution?
Yeah, so you guys don't have to take any action on the Terrence Parker, and then if you take no action, it technically just fails. So we don't move
Okay.
forward with that. So yeah, you can make the motion to approve the stage as presented, then make a subsequent motion to approve
Stacy?
Stacy
Okay.
for maximum price. That'd probably be the best way to do it.
Okay, well, I'll start with a motion to approve Robert Jensen to provide light, stage, and sound services for the Lathrup Village Music Festival for $5,700.
Second.
All right, it's
Aye.
made support.
I
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. And Stacy?
Stacy, what? Oh, I was supposed to make the
No,
motion
we put
for
it.
it.
No,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
mean, well, someone can make the motion for it to approve.
Yeah, if we want to move forward with Stacy,
Move
since
forward
the
with
guess
her.
is she'll be $1,000
So
or
it's
more.
me that I has to make the.
No,
I'm just looking at you.
I'm just looking at you. No, no, you
Phil
don't.
and
You
Anna.
don't.
You suggested it, you get the honor.
All right, so then I make a motion to hire
Yeah, enter into a
enter
DJ
into a,
agreement with
DJ
Stacey
agreement with
Howard
Stacy Wax Hale.
Wax Hale. Second.
All right, made and supported. All's in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you. It's That's exciting.
And I'll help you get another DJ or somebody else.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll talk. Okay. Awesome. Thank you all.
Thank you for
Excellent.
being a
All right.
volunteer again, Pam. Thank
You
you so
bet.
much for being
Looking forward
part
to
of
it.
that. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's cool. And I have room for anybody who wants to spend a day like that. Otherwise, we would love to just see you there.
Dornetta, I may come for Dornetta. She's
She,
pretty
you know,
good.
she's fitting us in because she's got another gig and she wanted to do it so bad. She's doing the
That's great.
afternoon
Yeah.
piece for us. So
I think I
she
saw her
really
first
wants to
time
be
maybe
here.
25 years ago in Detroit. I've been following her since.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right,
Thank
thank
you very
you.
much,
Thank
everyone.
you guys.
Thank
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Director's report? There's
Nothing, I
no,
guess.
yeah. Okay. Public comment. Anybody? All good? All right.
I make a
That's
motion to
it.
adjourn.